Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another predictions video. And in today's video, I'm going to be predicting the Oliha versus Vukshinaj prediction fight. If you're on around here though and you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Like video if you do need a like video, and let's get straight into it. So, going into this fight, Oliha is 18-0 with 8 KOs, and Vukshinaj is 16-0-2 with 11 KOs. Sorry if I'm getting any pronunciations wrong. This fight is for the IBO World Middleweight title. Oliha's last fight was a win via unanimous decision versus Alemos, and Vukshinaj's last fight was a win via KO in round 2 versus Ariaza. Oliha is 25 and Vukshinaj is 32. And to speak a bit more about what I've been saying, of course, it's for a world title, not one of the major sanctioning ones, but I'd imagine if a fighter is to go on and win this fight, then they would get put into some rankings of some sort, the top 15 of some sort of rankings. I don't believe that either of these two are ranked in that world level rankings as of yet, but like I mentioned, I think this is going to push one of them into it. If not, then it will be next fight, and will probably end up fighting one of the top fighters in that after the next fight. So last performances, Oliha's last performance, a very comfortable performance against top level opposition, and that being tough opposition, tougher than what Vukshinaj has ever fought before, and this is a step up for him. And Oliha, arguably on paper, not a step up, but similar to where he has been boxing at, and so that's always going to play a factor. Vukshinaj, I mean, his last fight and his last few fights have been very dominant stoppages, and I believe 3 in a row of just back to back early stoppages. I think round 1s, round 2s, like back to back early stoppages, and so he's deserving of this title shot, and it's going to be an entertaining fight. I think this is a fight which is getting overlooked, to be completely honest, by everybody else. I've not really seen too many people talking about it, bar the kind of Swiss fans who, of course, are going to be rooting for Vukshinaj because he is probably the only kind of big-ish fighter from Switzerland at the moment, and so fair enough. He's going to be trying to do well for his country. Of course, him having that age deficit, though, being the older guy, arguably though in his prime, and I mean, he's the less experienced out of the two, so that's not necessarily a bad thing that he is maybe a bit older, but maybe it's going to play a factor. Oliha's kind of youthfulness, and obviously he shows he's got great athleticism. But to speak a bit more about each fighter, so Oliha as a fighter, he's good at keeping a range. He's a bigger guy, not overly bigger, but he's the bigger guy and quite naturally a big guy. He's got a good consistent jab. He can fight on the front or back foot. He will aim to counter. He's patient, sharp, composed, confident, and he does gain more confidence throughout fights. He's got good straight shots. He moves well around the ring. He's fast. Like I mentioned, he's got good athleticism. He's got good solid reflexes mixed in with good head movement, and he finds gaps relatively well. I think he is a good, sharp performer. He's got them solid fundamentals. And I would say that, to be fair, he's a similar to an extent fighter to Vukshinaj. I would say he's probably more comfortable on the back foot than what Vukshinaj is, and he's not going to be hitting as hard, but I think he's the more patient. I think he's the more confident, possibly, out of the two. I don't know. To be fair, with Vukshinaj's momentum at the moment, then he probably is self-confident as well, but I think Oliha he's sharper. I think he's very quick, and that kind of links in with the sharpness and the fact he doesn't really get hit loads with much bad. He's got that kind of style which is difficult to hit, and the negatives I would have to say about him, he's kind of got a bit wild open hooks at times. He's got a low guard. He's got that kind of confident low guard, which isn't necessarily always something that you'll be wanting to have in. He headhunts a bit at times when I think he can do good body work. He just doesn't always utilise it. Obviously, he's not as powerful. He can be pushed back. His timing can be a bit off at times when he is trying to aim to counter. His timing can be a bit off. He will try to sometimes force a response. If he gets hit up against the ropes with a combination, he will then instantly try and respond, which necessarily isn't bad, because arguably that's where you're going to see the most power, because he's going to plant his feet and then come and try and take your head off with a response back. But it just means that he's sometimes trying to maybe force the fight in the process. He can be hit when he's up against the ropes, when he does kind of get backed up a bit. He's slower start in my opinion. He can be a bit tight on the offense when he is coming forward. Sometimes he doesn't really look as comfortable or as natural. Sometimes he does when he's kind of circling around. He looks like he's trying to force coming forwards a bit and just looks a bit tight and not as comfortable and not as loose as and sharp as sometimes when he is on the defensive. He needs to keep his jab going though. Sometimes he's got a good jab in the way of, I mean, most fighters either have the jab which sets up shots or a jab which is powerful in itself and can take your head off in that aspect. But I think he's got a good kind of setting up jab and he utilises it well when he can. And it's just sometimes he doesn't use it as much as what I'd like, and sometimes he can kind of forget about it if he is going on the offense and trying to take your head off. It's something which he needs to keep out, in my opinion, for a fight like this against Vukshinaj, who is a powerful puncher and has been getting a lot of early stoppages, and is somebody that you're going to be wanting to keep at a distance and keep at your distance, not be letting Vukshinaj kind of control it. But speak about him, he's got solid feints, he's composed. Of course, he carries power. He can cut off the ring quite well. He's got a high guard. He controls the centre. He's got solid movement himself. He's got good fundamentals as well. He's mid-range type fighter, similar to what I'd say Oliha is in that aspect. He will stalk you down. Of course, he's got momentum with him, and he does have that one-shot ability. When I say that he stalks you down, it's one of the fighters that will just constantly be walking you down. That's how he can, to an extent, control the centre so much, because fighters don't really want to just stand and trade with him. And to be fair, with his movement, it is good movement. He's not really going to be just standing and trading the whole time. And like I said, he's an attacking threat the whole fight, and he's going to be coming in there, I'm sure, confident, thinking about what he's been doing as of recent. Obviously, he's not been fighting that high of opposition, but he's going to be wanting to come in and make a statement at a high level here. And if he does that and gets an early stoppage here, then it's a huge statement to be made. His negatives, sometimes his balance can be a bit of a problem. He isn't the greatest fighter in close. He can overcommit to shots. Of course, like I mentioned, it's a big step up for him. He's not really been tested too much on the back foot. That's similar to him not really been tested in general. He's not really been tested too much on the back foot and hasn't really been going the rounds as of recent. Obviously, he has had that experience in the past, but just not as of recent against why he has been improving opposition. Obviously, you want to get everybody out there early, but sometimes you just need a fight where you do kind of just go the rounds, and I think this fight might be that. He sometimes has wild hooks as well. Sometimes it's similar to Oliha in that aspect as well, but his accuracy, I would say his accuracy can be a bit worse, and at times it's not amazing. But yeah, his timing isn't that bad, and when he's been getting these stoppages, it's catching people with good, well-timed shots, and sometimes they might be a bit more arm punches than anything, but they still carry power, and to have power from them maybe more arm punch shots. Not necessarily they all are, but some of them are. It's a credit to him, so it's not something that you see that very often. Oliha is the favourite for this fight, and I think that Vukshinaj will win via TKO in round 7. I think it's going to be interesting to see the athleticism of Vukshinaj, but I think Oliha, if he's going to get backed up and going to get put on the ropes, which Vukshinaj can do, and put him in the corner and cut off the ring and let his hands go, which I'm sure he's going to do, and possibly even just time him with a shot, I think he could catch him and he could hurt him. And obviously Oliha, I don't think he's really been too much in that aspect in the past, but there's been fights where I've seen Oliha be pushed back and be maybe not hurt, but just kind of have that, be hit and be punished up against the ropes. And if you're doing that against lesser opponents, then I think Vukshinaj could make him do that and then get a stoppage from that, and I think he will TKO round 7. I don't think it's going to be a comfortable, easy wipeout, but I think he will end up having success, and it'll be interesting to see how Vukshinaj comes in early as well. I'm sure he's not going to want to blow his gas tank, but he is, in my opinion, the quickest starter out of the two. And then who could go on to fight? I don't really know, to be honest. I'm just listing guys who are low ranked, who might be wanting to fight for the IBO title and have big platforms. I mean, Heaney, Shiraz, they're two British guys who have big platforms, and I'm sure they could sell a big fight for a world title, and so that could be something. Or Galtieri, that could be a big fight. He's coming off the Janabek loss. If somebody like Vukshinaj is to go on and beat Galtieri, possibly well, or I'd say better than Janibek, which is difficult because that was a very good performance, but well, then he could state a claim as to why he deserves that shot. I don't know if that's going to ever happen or happen soon, but you never know. And I'm sure Galtieri is going to be wanting a fight, and it means that they could also get him back another fight in Germany, because this fight's in Germany. So you never know, that could be a good fight. And yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like this if you did, like this, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.